Hey, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be working on a weed eater. Customer brought it in and said that it was running good, but when he went to set it down on the floor in his garage, fuel kept pouring right out of it. So today we're going to see if we can figure out what the culprit is. So let me first start off by saying you got to wear safety glasses because stuff can splash up into your eyes. Alright, so let's start in on it. It's a Stihl FS90R. Set this right here. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the air breather off. We're going to take the air breather off, cover. There's the filter. It's saturated with gas. The inner filter. And right now it doesn't have any fuel in it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add fuel to see what the culprit is. So just remember, when you're using these trimmers, they take 2-stroke. I didn't put a lot in because I'm not, if it's running out somewhere, then we don't want it all over the place here. So, not leaking when it's tipped that way. Let's tip it this way. Okay. It's not leaking. We gotta watch out because it's got a brush cut end, so you gotta be even more safer around those. So let's see what happens. Oh, come on there, lady. Okay, so he said when he sets it down, it starts leaking gas. And I was thinking possibly a fuel line, but I didn't see that. Putting it on this so that any gas that goes onto that cardboard I should see. And I'm not seeing any, so we'll just let it sit. Now we also had this FS40C. I don't know if you can see it all right. But the customer was complaining that it wasn't running good or he couldn't get it started. So what's the first thing we should be doing with something like this? If you've watched any of my previous videos, I always talk about what do you gotta have to make something run? Well, first of all, you need compression. And compression is this piston with the rings in the cylinder building enough pressure to fire. And also to draw fuel up into the system. We also need spark. If we're not getting any spark, there's no way to ignite the fuel as it's coming in. And we also want to make sure we have fuel, good fuel. Because I just had this discussion with a customer yesterday, and he was asking, how long is too long to store ethanol-free gas? And what I've been trying to explain to most of my customers is to try staying away from long-term storage of any of your fuels. Your ethanol fuels are going to draw moisture, so you're going to get water in your fuel. And you're going to end up, if you poured it into a clear jug where you could see it, you would see the gas on top, then the ethanol, and then the water on the bottom. It separates out. Now, I've had customers tell me they've had good luck with just shaking it up before they put it in. You're still shaking up water in that system. So it's not going to run correctly. And you can chase your tail around and around thinking that the fuel's got to be good because I just put it in. Here's the other thing I brought up to that customer yesterday was, if you see a fuel truck and it's dumping fuel into the tanks at that service station that you go to, don't fill up. And why is that? Because he's pushing fuel into that tank to fill it, but it's also churning up everything that's on the bottom. So it hasn't had a chance to settle out. So good chances are not, you're going to get water in the fuel, crap. But I would say for most of the small engine stuff to stay with the non-ethanol and don't buy 2 to 3 months out. People are using stuff a year old, 2-year old, and they're bringing their stuff to us, which is great because we can make some money at it. But it's 70% of the stuff that comes into this shop is water related in the fuel. That's it. The guy yesterday that I was talking to had brought his chainsaw in for me to try to figure out for him. And he'd had it to multiple shops. And they all said they cleaned the carburetor, changed the spark plug, and it was good to go. But what they hadn't changed was the fuel. And that's one of the first things we do in the shop here. We don't take any customer's word on anything. We listen to them. But the way our shop runs is I want fresh fuel. I want to know I've got good fuel in the system. I want to know I got compression, so I do a compression test on it. I want to know that I've got fire for the spark plug to fire. And if all three of those are present and it still doesn't run, then we go deeper. But the majority of the time we don't have to. So the biggest tip I can give you guys that are homeowners or first starting out in this business is when you get a unit and it's not running right or you can't keep it running, go get some fresh fuel, mix it up. Just a gallon or a half-gallon mix. Dump out your old fuel, put new fuel in. It's going to take a little bit to get the old fuel out of the fuel lines. A little bit of carb cleaner works. And that will solve most of your problems. And it'll save you money. On this one, I did a compression check and it's running around 35-40. These two strokes, 90 is the minimum. It's got to be above 90 to fire and stay running. Anything below that, she's wore out. The rings are gone. And for the most part, it's not worth to the customer to have us rebuild this unit. And it's sad because it's only a couple years old. I mean, they kept it in really great shape. But, you know, it's like they said, they use it a lot during the summer, doing some custom weed eating around camps. So on that note, hopefully you've learned something. I still got the FS90 on the cardboard and it's not leaking. So I'm going to leave it there. I thought maybe possibly that maybe when it got warm that it was siphoning the gas up and through the carburetor, but none of that's happening. So today's Saturday, so I'm going to leave it until Monday. I'll put some fresh fuel in it and then we'll go from there. So thanks so much for watching.